So we get started with the first conversation today, and as always, every Tuesday we get to have conversations about our health, and today we will be focusing on this particular conversation that has been very loud on both mainstream and social media, and this is in regards to the proposal that was put forth by the African Center for Corrective and Preventative Action, suggesting the changing of the age limit when it comes to legally using tobacco from the current 18 years to 21 years. What do you make of this? Do you support this particular proposal, and why? Should we change the age limit of tobacco use, legally speaking, here in our country from 18 to 21? Use the hashtag once again, Good Morning Kenya, to share with us your thoughts, and to help us with this conversation here in studio, we have with us the director of the African Center for Corrective and Preventative Action, Mr. John Masharia, joining us this morning. Karibu sana, Mr. John.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for making time to be with us.
Thank you so much.
Can we find the association on social media?
Yes, on website.
Okay.
We are there, and our mandate is clear there.
All right.
And for this particular issue, I know it has really brought a lot of concern,
yes,
a lot of conversation, as you have later said, in mainstream media, in social media,
yes,
about tobacco use.
Yes. Now, for the benefit of our viewer, before we get to dive deeper into this conversation, maybe to just understand what ACCPA does to set the stage for this particular conversation.
Great. Now, our African Center for Corrective and Preventive Action, ACCPA, is an international NGO, and our main mandate and focus is conceptualizing, initiating, and also activating and lobbying for issues that basically affect our health.
Yes.
Issues to do with climate change, and also advocacy in area of environment.
Yes.
And basically all issues that really affect public welfare of people. We're very much concerned, and I know there are so many other players who have similar laws, but on our specific issues we try to be very concrete on issues that we know that the interest is for the welfare of the society.
All right. The greater good of the people comes first.
Yes, yes.
Now, getting to this conversation about the legal age for the use of tobacco, what is the background towards this particular proposal that your organization put together? And maybe we could start by understanding the policies and the laws as they are.
Thank you for that. And I'm shocked, rather shocked, because when we highlighted the issue, it seems like it's a new issue in this country. But
or to most people.
To most people, that is. And you know, when you talk about issue of tobacco, I know there are issues to balance the wealth and health. And there's consensus globally that tobacco is equated to poison, but moderation on how we use it. Across the world, and especially developed economies, the issue of age of consumption of tobacco is a major concern. As we talk about regulation in this country, I would say that Kenya tobacco industry has not been really regulated, because you realize that the most players, and especially the mainstream players in the sector who came to this economy in mid-60s, they came when we don't have any framework to regulate them. And in 1993, around 93, that's when the idea to regularize the industry came, despite opposition. And it took 14 years to come up with Tobacco Control Act that was passed in 2007.
Yes.
Then after it was passed, we have a framework convention for control of tobacco, which is enshrined by World Health Organization, that some players felt that this act is not in sync with FCCT. Then it took another 7 years, up to 2014, to registrate and to come up with the tobacco control regulations. Then after that, there was litigations to the effect that these are inconsistent with the Constitution and also with the same protocols that are set by the World Health Organization.
Yes.
Making now the journey to realize a regulation for this country to come from in 2018, meaning the time that we can say that we've been having regulations that probably have not been felt in this country.
Yeah, the
it's about 1 year.
Yeah.
Meaning that all through we have not really regulated tobacco consumption in this country. Then when we talk about the age that has been stipulated both in the Act and regulation, we talk about 18 years. Then you ask yourself, why 18 years?
Why 18
why
years?
18 years?
And that is the subject of, a lot of back and forth on both social media and mainstream media. And, legally speaking, we're talking about 18, but the reality on ground is a whole other conversation. And we just want to come to understand the background that your organization has in regards to this proposal to switch the age from 18 to 21. And let's just start with issues to do with ease of access and what role it plays towards you wanting to move the age from 18 to 21.
You realize one thing, when you talk about the age of 18, it's a legal age.
Yes.
Actually, in this country, it was enacted in 1974 to have age of majority. That at any time you attain 18 years, it means that you are a legal person. You'll be taken responsible for your actions and decisions.
Yes.
However, if yesterday I was 17, today is my birthday on 18th, meaning what to change from yesterday to today. There is a difference that the world, across the world, they have come to differentiate the age of majority, and that's the age that has been set by any jurisdiction to say that at this point in time, legally, your actions and decision, you'll be solely responsible for them.
Yes.
It's no longer under your parents. However, there's an age of maturity that has been conversation, because it is argued that the age of majority, that is 18, is a legal guess.
Yes.
You just say after 18, then you're responsible. You realize that nobody will be taken to serious decision like marriage simply because they are 18 years, because there will be responsibility that effect. So what you are saying, tobacco decision to start smoking or to initiate smoking is a major issue, because it has to do with the destiny of an individual. When the minor are initiated or take responsibility, or the government says that because now you are 18 years, you can go buy, consume
without any consequences.
Without any consequences. At this age, these people are not able to link the cause effect. Doing this, how does it affect my future and my health?
Yes.
So what you are advocating, and all over there's consensus. Look at developed economy in the US. They have effected that of age of 21. Many states have done that. Our neighbors Uganda here, they have seen the sense of that. They have in their act, they have effected minimum age of 21 years, and also in Singapore they have done that. Very many countries they are moving toward that, because what they want to do, that any decision we are putting to our young people, they must be able to see clearly the responsibility that comes with that.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, therein comes the other question, from the issue of majority versus maturity. We also have the question of health versus wealth.
Yes.
I mean, the industry players are in business.
I agree.
At the expense of the health of the majority.
Yes.
What then is your responsibility in this conversation, considering they are in business, but also you have to consider the health of the population, and more so this younger group that are seemingly the biggest target?
I think that is the elephant in the house, because if we don't get it right, if we do cost-benefit analysis as a country, as individual, it costs more smoking than the benefit that comes from this industry. Like last financial, I think, like BAT, they give to the government through taxes about 16 billion square amount. But we ask ourselves the silent question, how does that cost us as a nation to take care of the health related issues to do with this, and again the social cost that we have. So when we are talking about the benefit to the country, or the precaution that we can take, you realize that where we have a lot of regulation, like in United States of America, where there are major markets, most of the industry players, they have been pushed from those economies because of regulation. And you see, why they catch them young is because we know very well that once you initiate somebody to tobacco, and especially when they are young, it means that that person, to stop smoking, it will be an issue if they become addicted. So it's, to me, for the players, it's an advantage to them. They catch them young, they get addicted, and they get a market base for these people entirely. They have booked the business for them.
Yes.
But are we asking ourselves the major issue to do with our responsibility as a nation, as families, to take care of these people when now the health issue or the risk strikes?
All right.
Yes.
Now, you've mentioned the aspect about responsibility that we have as a people, and in as much as this proposal to change the age limit from 18 to 21 would be to benefit the younger population especially, what then can be done for situations where parental responsibility is lacking? We have situations where, and this is something that so many people are alive to, parents are the ones who actually send their children to buy for them cigarettes and other tobacco products, and they are even way under 18. Issues to do with possession, to start with, is illegal in some countries. But here you find that's a norm. How then will this be affected? How then will the issues to do with age be controlled if the home setup is so casual about these tobacco products?
Well, one of the ways we are advocating for age of 21 is that all of us, including the parents, we are parents, we have children. We may be setting the pattern that our children pattern their life along.
Yes.
That yes, I am a smoker, I'm the father, I'll send my kid to get that packet of cigarette for me. This kid will be able to get influenced by my behavior as a parent. And that's why when you're saying not about age, the legal age, that the parent can take responsibility for the sake of their children. In fact, as you're saying, a country like Singapore, they go beyond legal sale age of 21. They talk about possession. That besides being going somewhere you can buy that cigarette, you are not even supposed to touch that cigarette. And there are repercussions to that in their regulation, whereby even if that kid is not able to pay the penalties, the parents take care of that. The institution they are learning, like in schools, if a kid is in possession of cigarette or is assumed to have smoked,
yes,
then there is punishment to that effect. They can be taken to unsmoking classes for sensitization and ultimately ensure that they have a smoke-free country. So even as we are advocating to have it legally, the best way that we can be able to help our young people is having responsible communities and families. That it starts from our homes, that we ensure that we help our kids to appreciate the risk that is associated with smoking. More important, there's a scientific consensus,
yes,
that the brain of a human develop up to age of 25 years. So when our young people are initiated to cigarette smoking before their brains are well developed, there is scientific evidence that nicotine affects brain development. So when you are investing in your kid, at the same time there's a risk that is affecting that investment, it will not help that kid, it will not help the family, it will not help even the country. So the issue that we are addressing as communities, as families, we must, besides regulation, we must be very strong advocates of having our kids not initiated in this particular drug.
All right. Now let's go back to issues to do with the policies. Earlier on, you were able to give us a very clear breakdown of how the policies and the laws have been since then, and consequently, there's only been a year that we have been practicing this particular regulations. Looking at the policies as they are, critics on the other hand are arguing, shouldn't we look to implement further and look at where we have loopholes as opposed to amending?
Actually, we are not really saying that we are amending, because what we are having, if we were able to delve deep and see the seriousness of what we are regulating, from the word go, we could have not settled for 18 years. And you realize that even some countries, they have done it progressively and say we start from 18, then go to 19, then go to 21. So basically, because you have never gotten a space to breathe in terms of, especially the regulator who was in charge of implementation, and especially the Minister of Health, they have never gotten a chance to have a candid conversation with the stakeholders, with the industry, and see what is the best for the country. Because besides having the existing tobacco control regulations and the act, can we sit back and ask ourselves, is it the right thing that we are doing for our nation? And you look again, our court processes are quite lengthy, and you see the industry will try as much as possible to exploit that loophole.
Yes.
Anytime they have a regulation, this particular parliament that is dispensing our matter, to ensure they take drug possession in courts. You look at Uganda, they had similar situation. And anytime the industry go to court, the matter is easily and quickly dispensed, so that conversation can continue. Because even the current regulation we have, it does not mean it's cast on stone. Look at now. I saw one of the player in the industry introducing what we call modern oral nicotine. Nicotine. That one is not even within our regulation. And you see that smokeless.
Yeah. And
they want to induce that, whereby even our young children can go to school with those things in their pocket, they can put in their mouth and consume. We don't have regulation that effect. What we are saying, that laws that are existing, they are good. But as a society, as emerging issues come, we must be progressive in ensuring that the law that we have serve the best interests of our people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this actually just speaks into the whole aspect of the role of technology in all this. E-cigarettes, we have nicotine patches, we even have vapes that are a favorite among the youth in this day and time. Also understanding the role of technology in all this and making sure that it also is in line with the health guidelines and protocols, as well as the acts that we are trying to put in place and implement them further. How can these other industry players be brought into this conversation to understand why it's important to speak the same language?
I think technology is a necessary evil, because it has so many benefits. At the same time,
unnecessary evil.
Yeah, it is really subjecting us in some areas to a way that even when you have a regulation, to implement them becomes a bit difficult. I can tell you, if you go to your phone line now, you can go to a particular online site, request for cigarettes. They don't even have those particular condition, or even saying that cigarette smoking is dangerous or is harmful to your health or it causes death. They don't have. You just take your phone, go to that site, request, you see a leader coming to bring that packet of cigarette. It don't care whether it will be taken by a mature person, a kid. It's happening everywhere, even here. Even we just request, you're going to get somebody bring it to you and just pay. That's over. So what you're saying that even in our regulation, because it is so silent in so many issues, that even application of technology, because what happens, there are some specific sanctions that should be upon those who are dispensing cigarettes even online. Today in our current regulation have no rule prohibiting that, so that even our kids who take their parents' phone, they make their orders, the cigarettes are brought to them and they smoke. So we need to have, if there's goodwill and have a win-win situation, then the conversation should go beyond probably what the industry wants, but what is good for this country. Even the industry player, yes, there is profit to be made. Even the country, there are taxes to be corrected. But remember, we as parents, you may be a managing director in that company, but you have kids also. You may not be smoking yourself, but your kids are smoking. When that cost comes, because you know, cigarettes, today we have a big challenge of cancer in this country. And I can tell you it has been scientifically proven that cigarette smoking or cancer, that is, we have over 16 types of cancers that are related to tobacco smoking. These cancers are putting a lot of burden, cost burden, to our nation and to our families. You realize that sometimes you may think it's just about those who smoke. But if my father was a smoker at his early age, he has smoked tobacco through his life, today he may be dealing with cancer. Who is taking the burden? It is me and the society. And then I go and put pressure to a healthcare system. So we need to really appreciate that. People just believe that the nicotine or tobacco just cause the lung cancer. There are so many other cancers that are related to that. And I can tell you, even in terms of environment, if I digress a little bit, you realize in Kenya, today we have, by 2017, we have about 3 million people who smoke daily. So, on average, if each one take only one stick, 3 million minimum, what does that translate in 1 month? What does that translate in 1 year? In fact, the industry, the statistics that we have, the industry produces about 17 billion sticks every year. Look at it. When you finish smoking that puff, there's something called cigarette puff or filter. You just drop it anywhere. That thing contains nicotine. And that nicotine, it is dissolves in water. When there's storm water or goes to underground water, that is going to be finding itself in the lives and the bodies of people. There's a study that has been done, research in Germany, that they took those filters or the buff, they put them in water, they dissolve, then they put that water in a controlled area with fish. 4 days, the fish were dead. So even in terms of our environment, we may say that only those who smoke are really the one who's going to be affected. But I who do not smoke, I can tell you the effect of that is going to reach me at the end of the day. So we need to have very honest discussion about the issue of cigarette, even beyond age limit.
Okay, so this argument that these new modern forms of e-cigarettes and vapes are thought to be less harmful does not hold any water in this particular conversation.
No, it does not hold. It does not hold.
It's not a reason.
It's not a reason. Actually, to me, it encourages. Because ultimately, the desire of everyone is to have a smoke-free continent, smoke-free country, smoke-free environment. All these things that we are sugarcoating in terms of saying and telling they are less harmful is not here, not there. it is actually a way of encouraging these people, the young people, different ways of continue to smoke.
Yes.
Actually, you know, we had even raised the issue of having mentholated cigarettes. It has been banned in America. It is banned in India. It has been banned in Brazil. What we've been having, and we need actually to have our political leadership, the parliamentarians,
yes,
take this matter in an open discussion, in an open way, that we see what is important for this nation, because there will be a balancing act, because where we have more informed people, especially in developed economies, and where everybody really appreciates the consequence of smoking, you see these prayers, they will move from those places, they come to where there are less or no regulations, and that's why they are profiting from.
All right. Now, as we close this particular conversation, maybe I'd like for you to address the issue of influencers, because there was an article that I was going through, and we're living in a time where social media influencers are people who shape an opinion of the greater majority, and especially the younger people, but you find they're also the ones that are being used by industry players to further spread the message about these new forms of e-cigarettes, nicotine patches, and the likes. What will be your message to them this morning when it comes to redirecting this conversation and more so looking at the health benefits? Very briefly.
I'll say that any responsible person, regardless of your social standing, it's not light to just pray around with health. Health is divine, and once you lose it, you lose everything. So our message across board should be, how do we help, especially those who have minimum knowledge on how to appreciate the impact or the consequences of their choices, actions, and decisions. Any action that is activated by the industry, globally or locally, there is a motivation to that effect. But I would plead that let's have the right motivation in order to drink. Yes, there are many ways of making money, doing business. However, let anybody doing anything and taking whatever is taking is well aware, because you realize that, to be honest, tobacco, sort of taking back a little bit, but tobacco,
very briefly,
has more than 600 components.
Yes.
And when you smoke, they say there are so many, close to 7,000 chemicals that come out of that. And they are known 69 chemicals out of that causes cancer, but they are being applied for other consumable issues in the market. But people are aware. For example, the poison that kills rats, part of it is from the tobacco, but everybody has enough coverage that I'm consuming this, come from tobacco, but I know the consequence when I'm applying to this. So what you're saying is that let people have the right information and make the right judgment concerning them and the people and the environment that surrounds them.
Absolutely. And we have a tweet by Jones who says, in this day and time, the government needs to realize the importance of influences to change the minds of the young people, and especially conversations around cigarette smoking.
Good.
That is what brings us to a close of this conversation. You can follow this conversation on both other forms of media. Get to understand why this proposal has been put forth to change to amend the Tobacco Control Act of 2007 and change the age limit of accessing tobacco and its associated products from 18 to 21 years. We have been speaking with John Macharia, who is the director of the African Center for Corrective and Preventative Action, helping us better understand why they are putting forth this particular proposal. Thank you so much.
You're most
we wish
welcome.
you the absolute best as you continue on with this journey.
Asante sana.
All right.
I wish you a good super Justin.
Thank you. We take a very quick breather, but we'll be right back with the next conversation. Do stay with us.